Okay, let's begin the session. So in previous session, we discussed how to implement a separate DAL project. It's a class library project. So the characteristics of class library project, you can hear me, right?
Yes.
Okay. So the characteristics of class library project, you cannot execute them as a standalone, like the console application or Windows application or web application. So these are the background applications, console application. Class library is one of the backend running application. So if you want to see the output, you have to take help of either console application or any self-hosted applications. So the self-hosted applications are like console, web, Windows, etc., etc. So since we are discussing about database connectivity and other stuff, so let's look at the entity framework. So how the entity framework, what is first entity framework? So in the DAL, you are referring the database tables either through stored procedure or by using queries. So the stored procedures are the database procedures where they internally refer the SQL tables. So you are creating procedures in the database and calling them from here. And still you should understand the SQL part. So what is stored procedure? What are the parameters it takes? And what is the size and what is the type of data type, because you are sending data from here. So if you think the name or the description, if you think it's a integer value, and if you send an integer value, the application will not throw any error because the execution will happen in the previous session we have seen. So when we miss the mandatory fields, either .NET application did not throw any error or the class library did not throw any error. Even the stored procedure, when it's executing, it throw some errors. And if you miss few parameters, the stored procedures skip the error, but when you are executing the query, so the actual execution throw error. So if you are using SQL, either query or stored procedure, you should have some control over database. That is first part. And you should have minimum knowledge how to deal with database entities, either stored procedures or tables or anything. You should be familiar with syntax and semantics, and you should be able to diagnose the issues in the database. When you have full control over database, then using queries will work. But in some situations, it's a third-party database. You don't have any access to it. And the database will change. The database structure will be same. The brand table will be same. The product table will be same. But sometimes, or for some clients, it's a MySQL. For some clients, it's Oracle. For some clients, it's a SQL. Your application, irrespective of those databases, should support. If you are seeing this, you are using SQL connection. So there is a tight dependency between your database and your queries. So in order to avoid all this stuff, we have entity framework. So I'll create a new class library project. So I'll name it as commerce entity Okay. And then I'll add entities. So how can we add entities to it? So I'll remove this. Okay. Then how can we add entities to it? Right click on the tab, right click on the project, add new item. So there are multiple ways where you can add the entities. This is one of the way. Let's see the output, then we will see. So what we will say this as brand. We have two tables, right? So we'll take two tables, brand and category table. So does it have any differential integrity? I think so. Or else we can take the entire till the product and we'll see. So we'll name it as product complete. So it will ask you to specify the database. So entity framework designer from database. So these are the different ways. Empty code first model, code first from database, entity framework designer model. Will select entity framework from database. Okay. So here you have to specify you have to create a new connection. So select the database. So it's retrieving the database list from this server. Okay, so then this is my database. I have only one server. If multiple servers are available, it will show. Okay, then it's loading the databases. So I'll select entity framework. Ours is, what is our database? Date is June 2023. Yeah, 2023. So you can test the connection. It's okay, success. Just click on OK. So here it will give the connection string. It will take a, yeah, this is the connection string. Okay, and it will add app.config.c app config file. If it is a web application, it will add web config. So here, this is the entities, is the entry. If you want, you can change it. So which entity framework? I'll go with 6. So again, it will pull all the tables and different stuff. We will take all the 3 tables. And these 3 tables have a referential integrity. Okay. So if you want to name a model, I'll keep it model only. Okay. If you want to change it, you can change it. Remember, there is a entities and there is a model. So it's creating the required stuff and preparing this project with entity framework. So let's see. You can do this in the console application also, but I want to make it as a reusable project so that I can use this next in the MVC project too. Definitely using the, so here it's installing the required NuGet packages, and also it's adding the required files. We need to add some config files. It will take care of adding it. So you can give the permission to click on OK. Again, click on OK, because it's making changes to your project. So that's why it requires permission. Again, click on OK. If you don't want to see the warnings, you can select the don't show dialog box, but if you do that, you will not see any notifications. So just click on, it will take, yeah. Then these are the three tables, right? Brand, TBL country, and TBL category, and TBL product. So let's walk through what happened to our project. So there are lots of projects created, lots of files created, not projects. So yeah, this is edmx, the file extension product complete. When I configure it, I choose product complete, and the file extension is edmx. Okay, the extension .edmx. So here it has a context file, so which is important. Open the context file. Okay, open the context file. So here it will show all your tables, all your selected tables, not from the database. So this is a class. If you remember, when I create entity, one of the pop-up defaulted to entities. So the DB context class is the entities. If you want, you can change it there. Here also you can change it, but I want to go with default. So it's inheriting from DB context. DB context is an entity framework predefined class. Okay, so it will be there in the system.data.entity namespace, and it has a constructor, and it is calling the base constructor by passing the name equal to entities. Okay, then it's overriding a method on model creating. Okay, then these are all the tables. So first, the TBL brands, the TBL brand, this is a table, this is a model. And if you see, these are the columns. So now this is a model TBL brand based on the database table you have. So the ID, name, description exactly matching with the fields in the table. Okay. And then the TBL categories, there is a referential integrity. This table and TBL category has a parent and child relationship, right? So you will see the child reference in the parent. Similarly, TBL categories also. So this is the TBL category table model representing TBL category in the database. You can check the names are matching, and there is a referential integrity. So this TBL category child table is TBL product. So in the parent table, it's mentioning the child table reference. So it's vice versa. In database, we'll do it in a reverse way. In the child table, we will specify the parent reference. But here, when it comes to entity framework, it's happening quite opposite. So the parent table will have information about its child. The parent table will have information about its child. If you want, you can compare the video where we created the database tables and differential integrity. So it's quite opposite. So similarly, TBL products. So this is the entity. And here you have the TBL category, referential integrity. Okay, then when it comes to context again, so here, these are all the list like TBL brands, TBL categories, public virtual TBL brands. So wherever you want to refer, you can refer them. Okay. So let's compile this, build it, and I want to use it in the ADO.NET for TBL category. Now we will see how to get the details for the TBL category. So first build it, and it's building the project. Successfully built it. Then I want to, it's a different project, right? I have to, how can I access this from the console? I have to refer the project. How to refer it? Right click, add a reference. So my commerce entity. Okay. So now let's do the fun stuff. So I'll comment out this entire thing, or else I'll create a new program.cs. I don't want to mess this one. So I'll create a add new item. So class program entity framework. Okay, program entity framework. So make this as a public, similar to this one, and add static void main. Yeah, just leave that and add a static void main. Okay, string args array of items, and it will throw an error. It should throw an error. Check on the case, because C# is a case system. Yes, but it's not throwing an error because we are configuring the startup here. So now, yeah, where is that debug? Where is that applications? Okay, startup. Yeah, entity framework. Now my startup will be this one. So here I'll access the entity. So how can I access the entity? First of all, using mCommerce entity. Okay. So then entities, create object, entities dot entities obj, or else entities, create object of entities equal to new entities. So then entities dot, see, you will see everything, TBL categories, right? So simply what we will do, so here where categories. So now we can see the link also, but let's do this TBL category dot entities dot TBL categories dot from TBL categories entities Okay, it's asking to refer some assemblies. So what is the reference? It will be set. So let's refer this one. I have a reference project. So entity library. Did I use entity code first? Entity framework, okay. User list.aspx, yes. Just have a look. How did we do this? Okay, so OBJ registration. What is this OBJ? It's a grid view data registration. So this is a different one. Okay, I think I have to use the system.link that was missing here. So where we are? Okay. Using system.link. Why it is not coming? Okay, so let's walk through this. Console dot, okay, using system console dot read line. So let's debug this and see. This is the DB context. Yes, we are using the DB context only. So let's see. Oh, are we using the DB context? Okay. Yeah, this is the DB context. Okay. So now entities, you can see entities. Yeah, you can see the entities dot TBL brands. Okay, result view. The function, because it will not system dot entity DB set. Okay, result view. Okay, where is equal to entities dot TBL dot to list should come here. Okay, if that doesn't come, type DB set is defined in assembly, that is not referenced. Did I not refer the assembly here? I did refer the assembly, right? Yeah, entity. Can we build this once? The type DB set is defined in assembly, that is not referenced, but we referred. Okay, remove this. So it was showing some. Did I not make this public? Or let's see the context. It's a public context only. Okay. Protected. Just rerun. Okay. Add the reference again. Add the reference. Commerce entity DAL. Okay. Right. Then rebuild it. Okay. The namespace entity could not find. Okay. This comment out. Maybe this is a, okay, it's succeeded. So let's use this using M commerce entity dot. That's it. You are able to access the entities here. That is a good thing. Entities obj equal to new entities. So this is the DB context I created. Obj dot TBL categories. Also, I'm selecting. I'm able to select it. So where is equal to, but it's throwing another DB set. You must add a reference to assembly. Might be it is the DB set is defined in an assembly reference. You must add a reference to entity. Okay, I have to add a reference to entity framework here also. Okay, okay, I understand now. So right click on this project because manage NuGet packages. So entity framework. So the same entity. So here, if you go to the references, you can see entity framework version. So go to the properties of this. So this one, entity, browse, entity framework. Entity, we should find the proper, okay, let's do this. Entity framework. Entity framework NuGet package for class library. Go to NuGet package manager, right? So here you can look for entity framework. So .NET, there are no entity. Microsoft Entity Framework .NET Core, we don't need that. Entity Framework Core Design, no, we don't need. Entity Framework Entity 6 version. Not .NET Framework. Yeah. Entity. Okay, Entity Framework. This is the one we need to install. Okay, .NET Standard, .NET Framework. Okay, so 6.4.4. Copy this and see the version which installed for the entity framework. So where can I see that version? Come here, because I don't want to create an incompatible version. So this is the entity framework project, correct? So there will be, open this project containing folder, go to the project file. Go to the entity, go to the project file. Yeah, this is the one. And see the version, the right version. You can see it here. Check with entity. So entity, where is the second instance? Okay, entity framework version 6000, right? So the same thing we have to install here. So let's do that. Tools, NuGet package manager console. Here select the project. You have to install it in a right project. I have to install it in the .NET ADO. So here 6.0.0.0. Okay, entity framework. Let's see. If it doesn't suit, we can uninstall it, attempting to gather dependencies, installing framework, etc., etc., etc. So it's right side, you can see it's installing the entity framework here also. So let's drop it down and go to your, did I install it in a right project? Yeah. So build it. Okay, go to your project program.data framework. So now you see entities. So where categories, hopefully, yeah, now it's not. So let's run this and see. So no connection string named entities could be found in the app config file. Oh, do we need to mention it here? So let's go here. DAL entity framework. So in the app config, so entities, it's there. Metadata, product complete. So yeah, RTT June. Okay, framework, it's there, but it's throwing an error. Let's see why it is throwing an error. Let's debug this. So name entities. But it's not returning the data from the database. So no connection named entities. Does it need app config? Is it expecting an app config here also? Let's add an app config here too. And so, oh, here also we have app config. So let's add this. So this is the app config for entity. So whatever you have, configuration section. So this is the ADO.NET configuration section. Oh, okay, entity framework. Okay, we don't have that. Let's copy this. So we have connection string here. Just copy this and add it here in the after config section. So let's run this. Hopefully it's doing something. Yeah. So, right. We were able to see 3 records from the table. And mobile, iPad, right? XYZ. If you go and see the database, this is the category table. So you will see those records. Yeah, you can see the exact data. Okay. So we will dig more into entity framework in the next session, but let me summarize the session. So first of all, I created a class library project. So where I created entity framework models by using edmx. So this class library has the model edmx file and its db context, everything, and the app config. Where to, if you like in the real time, this connection string will be different for different environments. Okay, then after that, I referred that class library project here in this project. Apart from adding that class library, I have to install entity framework because it's, even though it is not writing, we are not writing any entity framework code in this project, but still it is referring and using the entities from the other project, right? So still you need that NuGet package. By using NuGet package manager, we installed it. And while installing, we check the class library entity framework, both versions should match. Then after that, it's simple. You have to create entities object, and then entities.tbl categories will give you the list of .toList. It will give you the entire list of categories. If you want to retrieve another, you have to entities.tbl brand, entities.tbl product. So we'll see more like how to execute the select statement and how to write the link query to filter out the data in our next sessions.